Good afternoon, friends, and thank you very much for coming for this interaction. I'd also like to welcome you to this new facility that we are using for the first time with the media. I do hope you will like it. It's part of our unveiling all the facilities that we have. We have in this building. Some of you have been here in conference room 1. Previously also we had a BRICS NSA's meeting, so there was a small media event there. And now we've decided that we will check the facilities here so that they're all ready. In due course, we will have regular briefings here. With that, I would like to welcome Foreign Secretary, who is here actually for the briefing today on the visit of the President to Bangladesh. Along with Foreign Secretary, we have on his right Mr. Harshvardhan Shringla, who is Joint Secretary, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. And then, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Myanmar. And on my left is Mr. Venu Rajamani, who is Press Secretary to the President. What we will do is, as usual, I'll request Foreign Secretary to make a few opening remarks, and then the floor is open for questions related to what he has spoken, and that is on the visit to Bangladesh. At the end of it, if we have some more time available, he is willing to answer a couple of more questions on other issues. With that, I request Foreign Secretary to make his opening remarks.
Thank you, Akbar. This is a new experience for me also. And let me just say that usually I sit in Shastri Bhavan with all of you sitting up and usually what happens is you are sitting at a height and looking down at me. Situation now seems to have got reversed, but that is certainly not the intention. I'm happy to have this occasion. This is part, as he said, of our new facilities in this building. It's taken a long time, mainly because there are many finishing touches for the professional use of this building. You can't hear? No. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. I need to speak directly into the microphone. So this, just as I was adding, there are many finishing touches in the facilities here, which we are working on so that we have a completely ready building. And clearly this microphone not being as effective as the one you have in Shastri Bhavan shows that we still have a way to go. Thank you very much. Rashtrapati ji will pay a state visit to Bangladesh from March 3rd to 5th this year at the invitation of the President of Bangladesh. This is Rashtrapati ji's first visit abroad after his assumption of the office of President of India. And the choice is reflective of the fact that India attaches the highest importance to its relations with Bangladesh and seeks a deeper and stronger partnership with that country. The President will be accompanied by the Minister of State for Railways and 4 members of Parliament. In terms of the program, as has been reflected in the press release we issued yesterday, Rashtrapati ji will call on the President of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammad Zillur Rahman, and receive from him the Bangladesh Liberation War Honor Award. The President will also meet the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. The leader of the opposition and the chairperson of the BNP, Begum Khalida Zia, the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, Dr. Dipu Moni, the Finance Minister, Mr. M.A. Mohit of Bangladesh, the Speaker of the Jatiya Sansad, and the chairperson of the Jatiya Party, General Ershad, are also expected to call on Rashtrapati ji. The President will receive an honorary doctorate of law from the University of Dhaka at a formal convocation ceremony. He will attend a reception to meet members of the Indian community in Bangladesh. During his stay in Bangladesh, Rashtrapati ji, along with the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, would also flag off a freight train from the Dhaka Cantonment Railway Station that is comprised of the tank wagons and locomotives being supplied from India under our $800 million line of credit. As you know, with Bangladesh, we share not only a common history of the struggle for freedom and liberation, but also enduring feelings of both fraternal and familial ties. Shared history and common heritage, linguistic and cultural ties, the passion for music, literature, and arts are some of the factors that unite the people of India and Bangladesh. In this context, you would note that Rashtrapati Ji would pay a visit to the home of Rabindranath Tagore in Shilaidaha in Kushtia district. It may be recalled that India and Bangladesh had jointly celebrated the year-long celebrations of the 150th birth anniversary of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. Rashtrapati Ji had, in fact, in his capacity at that time as the Finance Minister of India, participated in the closing ceremony of that event, which was held in May 2012 in Dhaka. During this visit, the President and the First Lady will also travel out of Dhaka to Bhadrabila in the Narail district of Bangladesh, where he would visit old family relations of the First Lady. Rashtrapati Ji would also visit Kumudini Welfare Trust in Mirzapur in Bangladesh. I would like to emphasize here that the visit of the Rashtrapati Ji comes at a time when the relations between India and Bangladesh are among the most diversified and productive on account of the pragmatic and forward-looking steps taken on both sides. As you would recall, just a few weeks ago, the External Affairs Minister had visited Bangladesh for our joint, the work we do together in the joint committee. Several initiatives that emanated from Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's visit to India in January 2010 and the visit of our Prime Minister to India in September 2011 are now under advanced stages of implementation. I referred to the recent visit of the External Affairs Minister for the Second Joint Consultative Commission, where many of these projects and ideas were further discussed. We also had the visit of our Home Minister to Bangladesh in January of this year, which has provided further momentum in bilateral relations, particularly with reference to the extradition agreement which was signed at that time. We now have an MOU on Akhura Agartala and the revised travel arrangements which have also been concluded. The endeavor on both sides over the past few years has been to establish a comprehensive framework of development cooperation between the two countries. Considerable progress has been achieved on issues that have eluded solutions for decades. We have broken fresh ground in areas such as trade, power, connectivity, people-to-people exchanges, and security cooperation. The visit of Rashtrapati Ji would provide an opportunity to take bilateral relations to new heights and contribute to enhancing friendship and mutual understanding and help in realizing the full potential of our relations. Thank you. But I can hear you. I can hear you.
Take forward the unresolved issues which are still pending with the Bangladesh and India?
Well, during this visit, certainly we are not, this visit is not designed to engage in political negotiations. We are very conscious of the need for forward movement on the unresolved issues. And I think what the President will do is to underline the government's commitment here to work on those and to achieve the resolution of those unresolved issues in as short a time frame as is feasible.
Sir, just ahead of the President's visit to Dhaka, there's been the violence that we've seen as a result of the verdicts of the tribunal. How does India look at these developments? Is this a concern that the President will also talk about in his discussions with the leadership there? How do we look at what is going on there right now?
Well, you know, right now we are looking at the situation which has arisen out of a court decision in Bangladesh, the tribunal, which is a judicial process, and it would not be appropriate for me to comment on that. In general, our position regarding the upsurge which has taken place in Bangladesh has already been spelt out in our statements by the External Affairs Minister when he was in that country, and again I had also visited Dhaka a few weeks ago. The situation as we understand now is that the overall security situation, at least in Dhaka, is completely calm. We are in touch with the authorities there, and we are looking forward to a very productive visit.
Mr. Mathai, will it be prudent for the president to visit Bangladesh at this point of time, particularly when almost 20% of the Bangladeshi territory is violence hit? Has the thought crossed the Rashtrapati Bhavan's mind so far? And also, if you could say something about whether some rough edges had been noticed in India's letter of credit to Bangladesh, line of credit to Bangladesh, whether these rough edges have been smoothened out. Thank you.
Well, you know, we have done a lot of preparation for the President's visit, including the visits of advanced teams which have gone to Bangladesh in the normal manner in which we prepare for visits. And certainly the overall situation in that country has been carefully examined. We feel that it would be appropriate for the President to carry out his first visit abroad to Bangladesh, and so this visit is going ahead. As far as the rough edges in the line of credit are concerned, let me say two things that we find now. We had a period when there was a lot of discussions going on between the two governments about the manner in which the line of credit had to be actually utilized. I believe that we now have a much clearer understanding of how to make fast progress. In fact, the flagging off of the locomotives, and if you have been to Dhaka recently, you would have seen the presence of Indian double-decker buses on the roads, I think is demonstrative of the fact that we are now making very rapid progress on the actual signing of contracts under the LOC. You would also recall that from the original $1 billion line of credit, 200 million was decided to be delinked and made into a grant. Of that 200 million, the first tranche of $50 million was actually handed over when the External Affairs Minister visited Dhaka a few days ago. So I think we have made very steady and very rapid progress on that. We hope to get another tranche of that once the supplementaries in the current budget are finalized. So I think we'll make very rapid progress. Certainly, if you look at the areas in which the LOC is being used, these are for transport, for connectivity, and those kinds of issues, where I think there is now a better understanding of our procedures and their procedures and how to actually undertake. We have, as I mentioned in one of my earlier briefings, created a separate body within this ministry, which is in fact in this building, called our Development Partnership Administration. And they have a separate group of people who are now concentrating on the lines of credit, their utilization in a more centralized fashion. So I think we will make very rapid progress. On their side also now they understand our procedures and the way in which contracts have to be finalized.
So you said that this visit is not designed to engage in political negotiations. Apart from ceremonials, what substantive outcome can we expect from this visit?
You see, when I was saying it's not designed, obviously the visit of as high an authority as our president, who is the highest authority in our country, is concerned, the symbolism of it is first of all the political importance that we attach to this relationship. Rashtrapati ji has himself in his earlier capacities been to Bangladesh before, and we know that we have a large number of negotiations still to be concluded. What I meant was that the visit itself will not see any negotiations, but clearly the political symbolism, the determination of our government to build a firm and firm bridges with the people of Bangladesh, with the government of Bangladesh. This will be underlined, and we believe this will have an important effect on the overall bilateral relationship.
There were many proposals from big industrial houses like Tata's for heavy investments. So do you think those proposals will be revived again, taking advantage of the visit?
Well, I wouldn't like to comment on the business plans of individual business houses. What we have been told by the Indian trade and industry and in our engagement with them is that they continue to see Bangladesh as a very, very important partner, and they would certainly like to take forward plans for investment, for trade, and for joint ventures. There are requirements, of course, of energy, of understanding their investment policies better, and understanding the market access now, which has become virtually a non-issue after all the liberalizations. So we would certainly encourage Indian business houses, Indian industry and Indian trade to engage much more actively with Bangladesh. I'll ask my colleague if he'd like to add something on this.
There is a significant increase in outward investments from India, and there is also talk of special economic zones which are being set up along the India-Bangladesh border to facilitate more such investments. And there have been some significant big investments from India, including Bharti Airtel and very large investments in the ready-made garment sector. And all of this seems to be set to expand exponentially given the market access that Foreign Secretary spoke about, and given Bangladesh's own access to international markets through GSP and other benefits. So I think there is a distinct possibility of our being able to increase the outward flow of investments towards Bangladesh. And the sense we have got from the Bangladesh government is that they would do what it takes to attract Indian investments and give them a climate conducive to their commercial success.
I would just add one thing to it, that is a number of our business partners who have engaged with us in MEA, the Indian industry and so on, are also aware that the Bangladesh itself is a fast-growing economy. I mean, they have recorded something like 6% consistently, and it's a large market, 150 million, with a very growing middle class. So Bangladesh itself, apart from the export opportunities or the opportunities of access to India, presents a number of opportunities.
If I can just add one thing. Just in terms of figures, in the last 6 months or so, there were 38 Indian investments registered with the Board of Investments in Bangladesh for about $183 million. And major Indian companies such as Bharti Airtel, I've already mentioned that, Tata Motors, Sun Pharma, Asian Paints, Marico, Godrej, Venky's Hatcheries, Parle Products, Forbes, Marshall, etc. Lots of companies have really actually invested there in the recent past. And of course, there are also plans for companies such as Seat, which is a tire manufacturer, to invest a very significant amount. And this is all in the pipeline, it seems. Also, manufacture of commercial vehicles, two-wheelers, etc. are in the pipeline. Aditya Birla Group's Ultratech Cement and BFRL, which is signed a joint venture for $20 million for garment manufacturing. This is just a sense of Indian investments that are going in now, and of course Bangladesh investments in India are also significantly set to increase because we have removed some of the let's say hurdles and roadblocks that were there earlier, and of course now FIPB clearance is required, which is much faster. And I think 100% FDI is going to be allowed in a number of sectors through the automatic route. And a number of Bangladesh companies, Pran Agro Foods, etc., have already applied to FIPB for clearances. And we expect to see Bangladesh investments in India as well. So two-way flow of trade and investments is very encouraging.
Dr. Awad?
Mr. Secretary, the exploration of oil and gas in the offshore, it's a common between the countries. Is there any strategy by India in dealing with this joint venture, and especially at the time of rising of the extremism in the region? Thank you.
Well, I don't know whether oil and gas has anything to do with extremism, but I think your question is a very important one. I think the potential for hydrocarbons both in Bangladesh and offshore is certainly quite significant. We have our oil companies who would be interested in joining in the international bidding which the Bangladesh would be engaged in on its offshore and offshore blocks in particular. Certainly we would want to participate in that very actively. There are also some blocks which both from our perspective and Bangladesh perspective straddle a maritime boundary line which hasn't been finally settled. We are hopeful that the arbitration process which is on in regard to that maritime boundary line, once it is concluded in about a year, should be able to open up new blocks for exploration. But certainly we are working with Bangladesh in the power sector in general. We are working with them to set up a 1,300 megawatt coal-based power plant in Khulna, and we hope to conclude that before too long. Similarly, the potential for gas is certainly something which we will keep in mind. We are aware that in Tripura, on our side of on the eastern side, we have had some successes in gas exploration. Certainly there's potential in Bangladesh, but as I said, the offshore blocks is where there's a lot of international interest.
Sir, the practical roadblock between India and Bangladesh is the illegal immigration. And sometimes it echoed in Indian Parliament also. The short point I'm trying to make is whether we have any space or scope in Indira Mujib Pact of 1971 so that we can have free visa regime between India and Bangladesh like India and Nepal, if there are any chances in the near future to come to the relationship this extent.
Well, let me just say that, on the subject of illegal immigration, this is an issue which has been discussed between us as governments for many years now, and we have developed institutional mechanisms to deal with that, particularly those in the Home Ministry and in the relationship between the BSF and the border guards of Bangladesh. There are mechanisms worked out to deal with the matter of illegal immigration. As regards travel between the two countries, we have just signed, as I said, a revised travel arrangements, a new system to make issue of visas easier, particularly for categories like those who want to come for medical treatment, those who want to come for business, students, and people like that. So I think that is the direction in which we are heading, to make visas a lot easier for legitimate travel.
Parul?
Sir, I wanted to ask you about the land boundary agreement. Have discussions begun with the political parties on this agreement, which is, legislation is to be introduced in Parliament? And who are the 4 MPs accompanying the President?
Well, the discussions on the land boundary have in fact been going on for some months now. We in MEA have done an outreach to many of the political parties, individual members of Parliament and others to discuss the land boundary agreement and explain it in its full ramifications. We are hopeful that in this current session, in fact, do we have a date yet? We don't have a date, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to introduce it and get the support of all those whom we have briefed. I have 4 names with me. They are Shri Sitaram Yechuri from the Rajya Sabha, Dr. Chandan Mitra, Shri Mukul Roy, and Shri Bhuvaneshwar Kalita. These are the 4 names I have been given. Am I right?
They are the MPs accompanying the Honorable
The
President.
4 MPs who are accompanying the President, the names. And it is the Minister of State for Railways who will be accompanying. Minister of State for Railways, Shri Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, he's the minister accompanying President.
I understand there are no further questions on this, so Foreign Secretary will take a couple of questions, that's all.
I'd like to ask whether the Press Secretary to the President would like to say something on this.
Thank you, sir. The Foreign Secretary has given a very comprehensive briefing. On behalf of the President, let me just say that the Honorable President is extremely excited and keenly looking forward to this visit, not just because it is his first visit or because it is Bangladesh, but also because it is our immediate neighborhood and one of the most important countries to India. Bangladesh is a country with which he has had a long association. He virtually knows all the important leaders in Bangladesh, and we are told that when he arrives at the airport, almost all of them would be there to greet him in the ceremonial reception. Since he assumed office, he has also had a large number of ministers and senior officials of the Bangladesh government come and call on him, including and also Begum Khalida Zia, the opposition leader, as well as General Ershad had also come and called on him. So he looks forward to this opportunity to, as Foreign Secretary said, reiterate the importance that Bangladesh has for India and to try and take the relationship forward through intensive interaction with with the entire spectrum of leadership in Bangladesh. Thank you.
So, David Cameron was here quite a few days ago. And while he was here, he said he would help out India as far as Westland was concerned. Now, he has gone back. Has the MEA got any documents or any form of help from the British government on Westland so far? And also, sir, a few days ago, Vijay Singh, who was then Defense Secretary, he has said on record that top members of the British High Commission came to meet him a few years ago when this deal was about to be done, and they really pushed very hard for it. And he has said on record that these top officials were extra conscious about the Westland deal. Now that we know that it could be a dubious deal, is there any move to check with the British High Commission why they were extra conscious?
Well, let me say that I don't have information as of today. What I do know is that a team had gone to Italy, and the procedure was that they would first finish their examination in Italy, and what the British had said earlier to us was that they would follow on after that investigation. As regards the comments of Sri Vijay Singh, I'm not familiar with the context in which these were made, but as anyone who has dealt with high commissions and embassies around the world knows that officials do promote the interests of their country and their individual companies on a regular basis. That's fairly normal.
So can you provide us an update on the situation in Maldives, and what is this deal which everybody has been talking about, which we seem to have struck with their government for Mr. Nasheed's walking out from the High Commission?
No, what we had done is to go there and engage with the government of the Maldives, with the former president and all the stakeholders in that country. We are, through all these discussions, we believe we have created some kind of a window of opportunity for what we had earlier mentioned as our main objective, which is a free, fair and inclusive election in the Maldives. But there are legal processes, there are political issues and so on, but this window of opportunity which has been created for solving those problems is not necessarily a very big